So I'm Toastmaster Cyril. I am the Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. This particular session is a special session under the bigger program which Area G1 is conducting from the last 1 month, which is the mentorship program initiated by our area director, Toastmaster Gagan, who is also the presiding officer for today's meeting. We have two more people as the co-member of this particular program, myself and Toastmaster Vaishnavi, who is the timer for today as well. For people who have joined just now, I would quickly showcase the general housekeeping rules. Please rename yourself with the naming convention. I'll pause here for 5 seconds so that people who have just joined can rename as per the naming convention. Thank you. So, stating the ground rules of this particular session, we iterate very well with the core values of Toastmasters International. So please keep your noise making devices on silent mode to uphold the service and excellence of this meeting. Please do not move around or speak while the speaker is speaking to give respect to the speaker, and refrain from talking about sex, religion, or politics in a derogatory manner to maintain the integrity of this meeting. I, the Sergeant at Arms, call this meeting open and would like to adopt this agenda put on the screen. With that, I would welcome our area director, Toastmaster Gagan, to preside over the meeting.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Cyril. A warm good evening to each and every one that's present over here. Welcome you all to the G1 area mentoring program. Thank you so much everyone for taking time and joining this meeting. Hope we will have all great learnings today. In today's meeting, we have dignitaries, our past district director, Arvind Nair, and past district leaders, Pratima Lasya, and few other members, and my fellow area directors. Welcome you all to the meeting. Thanks for joining. And all other members who feel important for this meeting. Couple of years back, when I joined Toastmaster, I felt why there are many roles in Toastmasters meeting, like timer, hour counter, table topic master, etc. But after a couple of months in Toastmaster, I realized from every role, there's lot of things where a member can learn. I've evolved from all these meeting roles. I learned many things from each role has many significance where you can learn so many information. And it's continuous process where you can learn many things from each role. Hope you all think same thing. Today, I joined meeting to learn many things from our leaders. Are you expecting same? Can any guest tell what are your expectations from this meeting? Can any guest unmute and tell what are your expectations from this meeting? Yeah, anyone can just couple of sentences like what are your expectations from this meeting?
I can go first, maybe just to give the momentum for people in the call. We have 42 people, and this session is very much interactive one with amazing 6 role players or role presenters for our meeting. For me, I believe when I spoke with each one of them to get them on board for this session, I got a learning. Number 1, do not call your team or the team timer, hour counter, and grammarian as tag. So that was one learning. The second learning was do not call the sergeant at arms as sa. So I guess that was very important for me as a learning to take back, and I've kind of tried to implement it wherever I went in the demo meeting I attended. For me, with respect to learning, it's more about innovating these roles. I've tried using the briefing session to innovate some of the roles, the minimum stage time roles. But I would like to also try to learn from these people how I can innovate the maximum stage time roles as well. So that's my expectations set for this meeting. I hope my expectations fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Cyril. Anyone, any last guest want to go?
Yes, Kagan.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you so much. I'm Nandini from Speech US. I listen a lot from all the mentors and friends and Toastmasters that uh, Manasa or Lasya or Pratima, these are all very good at some particular roles and they are the brand for it. So by seeing this poster, I was just amazed that wow, all these people are coming here to teach us how extremely well we can do these roles. So I want to know how differently we can do these roles, not in a not along with the general manner. So I think my expectations are all set by seeing the poster itself. Now I'm out of bound, looking forward for the meeting and learnings as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nandini, for personally.
And the pressure is on, Gagan.
Yeah.
That forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Without further ado, let me hand the stage to today's MC, Toastmaster Priya. Over to you, Toastmaster Priya.
Hi, good evening, everybody. A warm welcome to each one who is present here. So, I'm super excited to start. Before that, I need all your energies. One, cameras on if your bandwidth has no issues. And second, I want emojis of hi, hello, hearts so that I am pumped up and I start my session. So, yes, a quick, yes, quick. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So yes, my name is Priya and today I'm the MC and I am playing a role. This is also one of a role which is in few of the events which we actually, play. And this is my, I think, second time when I'm playing a role of an MC. So moving forward, what is we going to do today? First question to everybody. How many of you are newbies in Toastmaster? I can get a raise of hand or, okay, one, okay. Newbies like 1 year, 6 months, okay, 2, okay, 1 to 3, okay, okay, great. And how many are senior Toastmasters? More than 3 years, probably? Okay, can I now, okay, 1, 2, senior. I think almost. Looking at the poster itself is the answer. That yes, we have people who are senior Toastmasters. You know what? It doesn't matter whether it is senior Toastmasters or a newbie. Doesn't matter. Every day is a learning. And today being here, the senior Toastmasters as well as the newbies will learn from each other. Do you agree? A yes or a no? Yes? Okay, wonderful, great. So I'll tell you my story. I joined Toastmasters 2 years back. And I knew certain roles, I was more excited on the more stage time roles like T-Mode, the Toastmaster of the Day, General Evaluator, and Table Topic Master. These are the roles which fascinated me. But at some point, I understood that the span of time also needs more, you should take up roles like SA, you can also take up roles like R-Counter, Wordmaster, Grammarian, and Timer. To do it more effectively, to make it more creatively, I came to this session. I want to learn because I am growing, but I want to grow more creatively. So that's how my Toastmasters journey, taking up roles, started. So it's been 2 years, and now, without any further ado, I will call upon the first person. So the first person is, we are taking part with the start of Toastmaster of the Day. Yes, so before that, someone has to note my time, how much I'm speaking. Is it required or not? Right? So we need a timer, don't we? Right? So we have our timer from my club, Vision Toastmasters. Vaishnavi has a timer. Please spotlight on Vaishnavi.
Thank you, Priya. Good evening, everyone. I'm Toastmaster Vaishnavi and I'm timer for today. I'm here to make sure the meeting ends on time. Role mentors, please remember I'll be flashing the timer cards for 5 seconds according to the standard mean convention and the duration which I've received from you. Thank you. Looking forward to an amazing session. Over to you, MC Priya.
Vaishnavi, can we once check so that we can just show everybody the cards? Is that okay? Once can we have a look?
Yes, once again. I hope everyone can see the screen. Done.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so our first role mentor will be Yash. And one good thing about this meeting is we are not only taking people, we are not only bounded to area G1, we have gone across. We have gone across the district also. We have gone across various division also. So Yash is a area director of N1 and his club Toastmaster, his home club is Gurukul Education Toastmaster. And what he loves about Toastmasters is he loved that Toastmasters motivates him and uplifts him. And now let us go and be excited. And before he comes onto the stage, let's applaud for him and welcome him, Toastmaster Yash.
Thank you so much, MC. Just a quick check, am I audible and visible properly?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. So, hello everyone, good evening. I am Toastmaster Yash and I'm going to be your role player mentor or a role player trainee of the Toastmaster of the day, which is the TMOD. So, before we move in our session, I would like to interact just a bit with the audience. So, if you can use the chat box and give me just answer me in one word, what is a TMOD, what is a Toastmaster of the day? A host, moderator, host of the meeting, host, MC, okay, director, host, anchor, he moderates, anchor, facilitator, ninths, acting VP ed, all right, controller, VP ed for 1 day, okay, fine. So let me tell you all, you are a human being. What makes you a human being? It's your soul, it's your energy, right? So what makes a Toastmaster meeting a very wonderful meet is the Toastmaster of the day, the TMOD, which is the soul of the meeting, which is the energy of the meeting, which is the driver of the meeting. And see what happens when the energy gets down, the soul gets dead, or the driver is a newbie driver. The car will get crashed, the body will be dead, and the energy will be down. And it all results in the downgrade of a meeting. So a TMOD is someone who is the soul of the meeting, who is the energy of the meeting. Just like our wonderful MC Toastmaster Priya began the meeting with the interaction and full of energy, just like that, a Toastmaster sets the tone, sets the mood for the whole meeting. Now let me tell you a story. When I first took up the TMOD role back in 2018, my first TMOD role, my meeting theme was the child in you, the child in me, and I didn't decide that theme. Fortunately, I got the role because the Toastmaster of the day on that day backed out 2 days before the meeting. So I was there, what to do, what not to do. So one thing I did is that I quickly called up all the speakers, all the evaluators, all the role players, and asked them about their childhood memory and their favorite pastime in the childhood, a snack, a game, a TV show. And I quickly prepared a nice PowerPoint presentation to present during my TMOD section. Now, at that meeting, I won the best role player for the very first time. And I was like, okay, this is the go-to method for every TMOD. And since then, it became a signature for my Toastmasters meeting that whenever Toastmaster Yash is the TMOD, he will use the PPT and he will just interact with each other, engage with each other, engage with everyone through this PPT. Now the global pandemic happened and we all shifted online. Then I again took the role of a TMOD. And then I said, I can use the same technique, right? Because it's a tried and tested method. People will enjoy. So I took up the TMOD role, made a wonderful PPT and so on. On the meeting day, I started the meeting with the whole flow, just like a physical meet, playing the PPT, speaking, playing the PPT, again speaking, playing the PPT, again speaking. But within the first half hour of the meet, before even we started with our first speaker, I saw that people started leaving the meeting room. And I thought, and I observed that even I was getting bored of my PPT. And then this one thing I learned from that meeting is that don't use PPTs in your Toastmaster script. Why, you may ask? Because see, people are in this time are working from home. They are constantly preparing presentations, presenting presentations, conducting webinars, attending webinars, and so on. And we all know that we all go to a Toastmaster meet just to relax, just to, from the whole cycle of the job and work, we just go to this our club meeting so that we can just relax and enjoy ourselves. And then again, you will again present that same PPT to them. They will get bored, they'll get frustrated because it's a meeting, not a webinar. So one thing I learned, the major thing I learned is that don't use any PPT. If required, use it, but even if you can eliminate the slightest use of the presentation, PowerPoint presentation, just eliminate it. Because the more you will interact, the more screen time you get, the more engaging and more effective the meeting will be. Because the second thing I observed in this part of the presentation, the part of the PPT, is that when you presented the PPT in the physical meet, you are getting the constant feedback from your audience. When you present the PPT, you expect something from the audience, they give you, you get happy, the meeting flow gets even higher. So second thing I would like to say is that whenever you start the meeting, ask all the participants, if possible, to turn on their videos. Just like our MC said earlier, to turn on your videos. Because of this low energy or low, what you can say, low participation from the audience, the meeting gets dull and it gets boring. And see, speakers are there to deliver their speeches. They're constantly preparing in their mind their speeches. Evaluators, once they evaluate, they turn off their video and then they start writing their evaluations. So, all the role players, are timer is constantly timing, our counter is constantly taking notes of the R's, ums, and crutch words. Grammarian is constantly listening to you and marking your good usage and not so good usages. The remaining audience is the other members and other guests of your meeting. Don't bore them. Another point is that I learned 3-way technique, which is experiment, innovate, and create. Well, now what is this? Experiment means there are numerous softwares available, which you can use in a meeting to make it more engaging. For example, if you want to introduce a character in your meet, if you want to introduce something, what you can say, a discussion between two characters, you can do that. Even if the Zoom has also given us this feature. For instance, I'll say this: hey Jack, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm fine. How about you? And so on. Just use these softwares to create an engaging mood in the meeting so that the audience gets something new and they see that yes, this meeting is enjoyable. I can stay in this meeting and this will be more fun. Innovate means new ideas, games, which you makes the use of your audience to interact with them. For instance, just before I said that to use the chat box, just to give one word, our MC said that to give the reactions, to interact with audience. So these interactions builds a strong connect with your audience and they are gripped to the meeting. Now create means creating new characters, new stories, and inculcating this in your script. uh, if I can share the screen, I can just simply show you a character I designed for my meet. It's called Cypher. Let me show you. Everyone can see the black screen, right? Okay. So this is the character I use to interact with me. if you are you can just use the side by side mode on your Zoom, you can see it more effectively. Now this character is called Cipher, and I use it just to interact with the audience.
It's a tongue twister, really simple. Everyone repeat after me. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Now the audience here will start repeating itself.
Fairly simple. Now all at once. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
And now everyone just, and in the meeting, everyone just unmuted themselves and started speaking this tongue twister. And then someone asked,
As he could, and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Thank you, thank you.
so these small things, these little things will impact your meeting in a certain way that audience will remember your meeting, and you will be remembered as the best TMOD. So covering up all these points, I would just summarize it by making minimal use of the presentations, be energetic, interact with your audience as much as possible, experiment, innovate, and create. Experiment with softwares, innovate your role, and create new characters to build more engaging stories. And just have fun. When you will have fun, the audience will have fun, and it will be a flawless and effective meeting and efficiently conducted meeting. So with this, I pause my words, I give a pause to my words, and I hand over back to the MC, Toastmaster Priya. Thank you.
Can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster? Yes, everybody. You can unmute. You all are allowed to unmute. Yes. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Yash. And yes, so I'll take a minute before that. Before everybody goes on to different modes or moods, I want to take a selfie. Not a selfie, but then yes, I want a group picture. So can we do that? Can we ask everybody to turn on their videos and take a Toastmaster Yash told something. Have fun. So don't we have fun right now by making a funny face or something like that? So let's do it. Let's switch on your videos and let's have fun or funny face, anything. Don't worry. We all are beautiful from heart. Yes.
I guess a lot of people in the meeting, and we would encourage everyone to turn on and keep smiling because I need to take multiple screens of photos. So I'll wait for another 10 seconds for people who are yet to turn on their cameras, and then sure, I'm going with the first click. Smile, guys. Let me go with the next screen. So people who've still not turned on the cameras, you can turn up now. Smile, guys. Any funny poses? I see only Toastmaster Lasya doing some funny poses. So let's have a funny pose to capture. Perfect. So I've taken the photos. Over to you, MC for the day.
Yes.
Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you so much, Cyril. This gave us opportunity, all of us, to smile at least for the next. We smile for 1 minute, and that's beautiful that we were able to do that. We forget to smile actually during the day, and this is the opportunity that we got to smile. Thank you so much, Cyril. So yes, before I go ahead, I want to ask. I would like to tell everybody that you can keep a paper and a pen. If you have any doubts, whether in terms of any roles starting from till Rohit, we all will be taking at the last moment your questions. You can post me or Cyril, and then we will go according to the questions. So you'll remember, you'll not forget. So keep a note, and whatever doubts you have, you can always post it at the end of the thing. Okay. So yes, Toastmaster of the day. Beautiful put up, Yash, that we were supposed to be interactive, have fun, create characters. So let us make the audience sink in. I want all of you to take 30 seconds time. Write on a paper, or if you want, you can use the chat box, TMOD. What is the
I guess you went on mute, Priya.
Sorry, I got a call. Sorry for that. Yes. So TMOD. I want you to write one value which you add to TMOD. Just an example. T, togetherness. M is, for me, it can be mentoring. Mentoring can be one of the value innate. And O, like that. I want you to write, and don't copy what I told you. Yes, I want you to do that. I give you 30 seconds and I want you to, whatever you have understood from Yash, now try to inculcate what is that value now onwards you want to inculcate in your Toastmaster of the day role. So timer, let me, the magician of the day, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, wonderful. Can we add values to it? That will be more nice. Timer, moderator, designer. Okay, wow, beautiful. And we are 60 people, so definitely we need more answers. Get up, let's have more answers. Okay, yes. So can I have more? Two more, three more. So I count 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so from Yash's speech, what I understood, yeah, Sanika has written timely, managing, directed, mechanism of dominating, wonderful, organized, thinking, creative. Okay, so theme master, organizer, dynamic, thinking, creative, mingle with people, organize segments effectively, beautiful. Wow. So yes, we have understood from now onwards, how are we going to take up team mode? That is the Toastmaster of the day. These values we'll imbibe and we will start. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much for doing that for me. Now we go ahead with Toastmaster Lasya, who is role mentor for general evaluator. And so I will introduce her, and for her, what she loves is, and how Toastmasters helped her, is analyzing and thinking more better. Okay, and articulate better and identify the lags, that the aspect that she lacked in public speaking. Whoever wants to create a Limca record, the steps you can ask Lasya. Lasya is the Limca record for the largest maze created. So over to you, Toastmaster Lasya.
Good evening, everybody. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
All right. Thank you. So, okay. So what is the role of a general evaluator in a Toastmasters meeting? Can I have a couple of comments? What do they do? Oh, sorry. Giving feedback, fantastic. That's it. Headmaster, I love that. Next. Oversee the entire meeting, amazing. Evaluate the meeting, runs his tag team, evaluates the meeting. Improvements. Thank you so much for your responses. For me, a general evaluator is the mama of the house, you know, who looks at every single thing. Lasya, your car keys are thrown there. You've not eaten your lunch again from your dabba. That's the general evaluator who looks into every wall that happens in a Toastmasters meeting. All right. And personally, I felt the GE role helped me as an individual in my work, in managing my own self. The role of a GE has helped me a lot more than any other role that I've played in a Toastmasters meeting. All right. See, it helps you think critically. You're looking at every second of the meeting, observing, trying to analyze, hey, did this go well? Didn't this go well? It helps you think better. You organize, ensuring your grammarian, accounter, timer, everybody is in place, all roles are in place, everybody is briefed. You're ensuring that you're able to organize better. You manage time management. So much of feedback, so little time. How do you effectively manage your time in giving back your feedback? And you have to be motivational. If you're going to scream like your mama at home, your Toastmasters are not going to come back to your meeting next week. So ensuring you give motivation, a feedback that is motivating and helps them improve. And most importantly, team building. You work with a large set of people that helps you work with teams. So in a professional scenario, the more number of GE roles that I've played all along, I felt I've got myself in organizing and being better able to think, articulate better. And this was the role that helped me the most. So that's why when Cyril came up to me and said, hey, Lasya, I want you to do this, I said, GE, give GE to me and nothing else. All right, so getting back. So what goes, so what I've seen normally in a general club is when a GE comes on stage, you know, when they're giving their report, it's mostly like, oh, the meeting started on time, few mobiles were beeping, the feedback receipts were, feedback slips were not in place, the speeches were amazing. That's all the feedback that, you know, you get to hear from an average person, you know. So here we are to learn, you know, how to make your GE report more effective. The two things that are very, very important in doing your GE role well are, first, observe and comment and recommend on every single role. Sometimes you might not have the time to, you know, give your entire feedback that you've noted down, but have it with you. Second, observe the entire general flow from when people start trickling into the room to how people leave the room. Not when, you know, the the surgeon at comes in and goes out. No, even before they come in, start observing. So that's the role of a GE, you know, mama who looks from the start till the end. That's how you do a perfect GE role. So like I said, you know, you start early and, you know, you end late. So what do you do before a Toastmasters meeting as a general evaluator? Any comments, please?
Follow up with the tag team and all evaluators if they have everything ready or not.
Follow up with the tag team, evaluators, then anything else? Watch, observe, yes. Brief the tag team, fantastic. Check if roles were taken up on time, bingo, bang on. Next. Check with the tag team, brief. So what do we do is, first, know the theme. Imagine the theme to be chocolate, keeping it very brief for now. Know what is the theme. Then work with your tag team, you know, your timer, our counter, and the grammarian to see if they've got their role briefings right. Mostly what happens in a club, the guests are given the role of an counter or a timer, you know, ensuring that they have their timing, each of the speech timings, everything, and they know each one of those roles. You know, ensuring that all of those things are in place. Ensuring that the word of the day and word of the day, idiom of the day, in case your club has. Introduction text, do they know what they have to speak when, you know, they are called up on stage? Any templates, if your club has a template of, you know, filling a grammarian report or an counter report, ensuring that they know how to use it. And seeing if your roster is all filled up, not somebody in between saying, hey, we don't have a TTM, you know, find someone right now. Ensuring that your entire roster is filled up. And if there is a new person that is there who's taking up a role, ensuring there's an agent, they're aware of the agenda. Like few clubs have a presiding officer, few clubs don't have a presiding officer. You know, every club has a different, you know, minute changes in agenda. Ensuring everybody knows the agenda, not gives the agenda. Yeah. Then most importantly, have your GE script right before you're taking care of your whole army of people. Then that's before a meeting. During the meeting, what do? You just observe. Observe, observe, observe. Note down what went right, what can be made better, most importantly, so that your meetings get better and better and better by the day. And after the meeting, what do? Give additional feedback if there is any. If you have, I mean, a lot of times, you know, somebody would have done a role well, the paucity of time, you just give 1 or 2 comments, and then whatever it is, you know, all your exhaustive feedback that you've written down, give it to them so that the other person improves. So that's what you do before, during, and after. So now during the meeting, I said, observe, observe, observe. So what do? How do you observe? Like I said, before the meeting, you look at, how people, has a room been set up, how's everybody been treated, have the guests got a warm welcome, etc. Now, and then when the meeting starts, has the sergeant at arms passed it on well to the presiding officer? If there is this thing, has the presiding officer passed on back with a proper shake hand? Few Toastmaster protocols we follow. Have they laid down the 3 ground rules, passed the control back to the presiding officer? And then was the presiding officer prepared when he came to give that 2-minute speech that he gives? And then has he given the control back to the Toastmaster of the day with a little brief about who's the Toastmaster of the day? All these small things add so much value. I mean, a lot of people think that these are very minute things. Go back, use it in your own office. It makes an enormous amount of difference. All right. So these minuscule, beautiful things ensure you guys follow in your club. And as a GE, identify and point it out. All right. And next, during the role of a general evaluator, how do you do? Call on your grammarian, accounter, and your timer, ensuring that, if the word of the day is being given, a lot of us use these thumbs ups and whatever is the emotion that we try to give, it's a point of encouragement, ensuring that the grammarian gives such things. And so a table topic master comes. Has he laid down, are his points, are his themes, are his topics in line with the theme a little bit, and so on and so forth. So ensure you observe every single thing. And now getting to the real part. So how do you give your session? How do you do your general evaluator point? You're just given 2 to 3 minutes. Ensure you have a point for every single role player, from the sergeant at arms till the listener, in case you have in your club. Please give a feedback to each one of them. Most importantly, target the role, not the role player. Ensure, they could have made some minor mistakes, and give the feedback based on the role. Don't point out what went wrong. Always say what can be made better. That is very, very important. Most importantly, be very, very specific. Don't generally just say, hey, this was too loud or this was too bad. Just give feedback of how you can make it better. Be sincere. Give your feedback from the bottom of your heart. Be timely. Make it as crisp as possible, because you have a lot of role players to cover in a very, very, very short span. Be prepared. Be attentive from minute 1 and start writing down a well-prepared script when you have to give down your GE report. And most importantly, just don't say, hey, you're amazing, you're awesome. Say, give constructive feedback. If they have to improve, give that little negative feedback so that they improve and they become a better speaker, role player, and go on. And now, what is it if you're going to scream like, Lasya, where are your car keys? That's not going to work. You have to end it on a positive note, so that the person feels very encouraged and wants to come back again to your Toastmaster as an improved person. So what is in it without a little bit of English? A lot of times people say, hey, this role went awesome. We are Toastmasters. Learn using more beautiful words. They're exceptional. It's amazing. It's convincing. It's fantastic. It was well articulated. It was lucidly explained. There's so many ways of expressing the same line. Learn to use all the language that you've heard in Toastmasters. And when you're giving feedback, make it personal. Don't say, we all felt that your speech went bad. No, I felt your speech could be improved in A, B, C, D, E areas. So make your feedback very, very personalized. So I think that's all that I have to say. So, in toto, be very sincere, be very observant, and be very articulate and crisp when you're giving your feedback. Over to you, my Toastmaster Priya.
Let's applaud for Toastmaster Lasya.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lasya. So moving forward, I would request if anybody is not talking, kindly unmute yourself. Yeah. So going forward, DTM Pratima. So who doesn't require an introduction? And yes, so one of the person who is very soft in whenever I speak to her, I only get the soft vocal. The way she expresses is very soothing, and that's the only one liner I would like to tell about DTM Pratima. Going forward, I hand over the stage to DTM Pratima, who is going to tell us, explain us the role mentoring in the GE team, the tag team, which is most important, crucial role in Toastmasters. Over to you, DTM Pratima.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Cyril, for this brilliant opportunity. I'd like to start off with a statement I want all mentors to write down in any kind of a noting instrument that you have. My take on the GE's team is your mentees will see the roles the way you see them, because it gets translated on how you mentor them. And my entire talk today is basis that premise. Okay, we'll start off with the timer. Any questions you have, you can post on the chat box. I'll do my best to monitor that as well. Question number one I have for you is, what are some of the things that you see as benefits of having a timer in a meeting? And let's take 30 seconds to get those responses. Okay, let's not do time management anymore. We got that. Anything else? Okay, helps us with completion, keep track, be punctual, we stick to time. How speakers structure their talk, not necessarily, but that's a good one. Keep it crisp. Okay, so tying it back to the GE's talk, it helps us stay on course. I hope you agree. Thank you, Srini. It creates pressure. Thank you. That's a good one, to be honest. Timer also indicates whether a person is qualified for voting or not, and overall time management. But to me, this is a value add. It also, the role of the timer also helps us respect the time of the audience. Everybody invests time in coming to the meeting, logging into the meeting, etc., etc. If the timer were not there, people are going to start tuning off by the end of the meeting. You can give me a thumbs up using the reaction button if you agree. If you disagree, you can talk to me on the chat. Okay. Now, my second question to you is, what are the skills that a timer develops? I want you to view this from a timer's perspective and also start looking at, if I am mentoring a timer, what are the things that I should be imbibing into my mentoring talk? So, okay, focus, listening and multitasking, attentiveness.
Client ID you have?
Somebody is unmuted. Can you please go on mute? Integrity, thank you, Sureka. Thank you very much for that. Especially during contests, it requires high amount of integrity, observational skills. All right, fabulous. Now, these words are something you may want to write down, because the next time you're mentoring a timer, that's exactly what you have to tell your timer, that by doing this role, these are the qualities or traits that you will be developing, which means the role of a timer is not something that you just walk into a meeting and pick up each time you just want to do any role that doesn't require speaking, right? So as a mentor, your role is also to add value to the role and let them see what benefits they get from this. Okay. Now, what is the scope for innovation in a timer's role? Don't think that I'm throwing the ball in your court each time with each question. I just am using a Socratic method, because we all know the answers. It's just that we don't invest time in using them when the time arrives. What scope does a timer's role have for innovation? I've seen quite a few. while presenting the report, okay? Use different kinds of reports using emojis if it is here. Match with the agenda, that's a very good one. Cyril, thank you. Splitting the introduction, body, conclusion, thank you. You also can see that if there is a pattern in your club of role players taking too much time while explaining their scripts, or the Toastmaster of the day spending too much time on the theme of the meeting, hence by extending the meeting, or any particular role player taking too much time, you may want to call that out to the GE and add it to the GE's report. It doesn't come as an evaluation from you because you're only giving a report, but you can add yours to the GE and tell the GE that this is something we see as a pattern in our club. Now, how do you know if it's a pattern or not? You go back and see the previous timer reports. That's the investment of time the timer has to put in, right? So your role as a mentor, you have to invest time. Does the mentee have the right script? Last year I referred to this a while ago. Is it crisp? Is it aligned? Has your mentee reached out to the evaluation team and found out what is the project timing for each of the projects that are being presented that day? And today on Zoom, does your mentee have the prescribed branded Zoom timer cards? Does he or she know how to use those cards on the virtual platform? So you as a mentor must invest as much time as the timer does till he or she is upskilled on it. I'm going to pause here. I ate almost a minute into my R counter report. Any questions on this? If you do, now's a good time. 10 seconds. All right, can I get a few thumbs ups to tell me that you guys are okay? Okay, okay, I got a few thumbs ups. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the R counter. We'll use the same sequence. What are some of the benefits of having an R counter in a meeting? Okay, what if the timer is ignored by the speakers? Veena, since I started the R counter, I'll come back to that one. I hope we remember to address that. Cyril, if you can make a note of that question, I'll be grateful. What are some of the benefits of having an R counter? I'm looking for your responses in the chat box. Okay, no pauses. That's pressure, yes. Especially when the report is coming out, your heart is like you're palpitating. Make the speech crisp. Okay. So Remy, that is what he develops. But what is the benefit of an R counter in a meeting was my question. Speakers are mindful. Thank you, Veena. Yeah. Thank you. Because we don't have the right vocabulary, we may be using a filler phrase. That means the next time you will want to use the right word for it. Thank you. So here are some things that I wrote down. One, it first helps us understand or reflect or even realize that we have filler sounds and filler phrases. A lot of times we do not even realize that we have them, especially shorter words like so, like, actually. They come out so quickly and so subtly that we don't realize, and most listeners don't too. But for a trained ear, it could be quite a jarring effect when you have so many filler words and sounds. Now, going back to Remy Prasad's point a minute ago, what are the skills that an R counter develops while doing this role? Yeah, listening, multitasking, yes. Yeah, very sharp listening, not just listening, but very sharp and attentive listening. Understand how jarring repetitives are, yes. Okay, listening as an art, focus, attentive. Thank you very much, brilliant. Like I said earlier, it's easier said than done. Sometimes I feel when I speak, my R counter at the end of the day gives me a report saying that Pratima, you had 4 hours. I'm like, wow, today is like a party day, which means you missed the other 14 that I actually said, right? It could actually be that because it's not easy. Sharp listening skills. Some R's and words are so subtle that they will just slip through the Our count is yours. Thank you. Identifying a filler word specific to a speaker. Identifying filler sound specific to a speaker. Now, innovation. What is the scope for innovation in our counters role? I'm not going to wait because I'm a little under pressure with time. Now, a lot of people, and I've seen this pretty common, is the report is given and that's the end of it. Now, it's almost like it's up to the speaker to go back and understand how do I overcome this. And to be honest, nobody is keeping track of how my R's have either come down or gone up. When I say R's, I'm just saying any filler sound or filler word. What can an R counter do? You can have tips. You can tell tips on how to reduce the fillers. Send a video on your WhatsApp group to members on how it can be done. And maybe if the club secretary or somebody their graph has gone up and down. Now, I've seen clubs where our counter reports are given the overall club number. They say, today in the audience, we had 74 Rs. Don't do that. That's not helpful. Your R counter report must always be individual, specific to people. Now that you understood this, if you're mentoring an R counter tomorrow, please understand the script has to be crisp and you have to understand what value add can you tell your mentee to take to the meeting rather than just give out a report. I have 4 minutes for my word master and grammarian. And I thought I'll spend maximum time here. Okay, I have a statement to make and you tell me whether it is a truth or a myth. Just type that one word, truth or myth, on the chat box. Word master grammarian. Only those who are good at grammar or language should take up this role. Truth or myth? Okay, lovely. I love you guys. All of you are saying myth. If one of you said truth, I'd have left the meeting by now. Okay. And I say this because growth, I believe, lies in doing the unknown. If you're bad with math and you have somebody who's good with math and numbers in the EC, you must take up the role of a treasurer. That's how I see it. I never dared to do it, but I'm just telling you. Now, what skills does a word master and grammarian pick up when he or she does the role? True, thanks Akhilesh, that's a point, which is what I wanted to bring out. What skills does a word master and grammarian pick up when he or she does this role or picks up this role? Okay, because you're introducing your vocabulary increases itself, yeah? Yeah, because I took up the role, my grammar became better. What innovation can iMaster Grammarian bring into the meeting? You can choose to unmute, but you have only 30 seconds to speak. Innovation, critical listening. I still think that we're answering the previous question. We can pause answering the previous question. Talk to me about innovation in the WMG role.
Club all the different types of errors that we make, like tenses, prepositions, and understand as a club where we lack and improve upon it collectively.
Because of signal issue, audience reflect and make changes instant. Okay. Okay. I'm going to add a few here. Okay. Try and use common errors. So don't just do this is the word and this is the idiom of the day and end of story. How can you get people to speak better? Is pick up common errors in language. For example, a lot of people say, I can't able to do. If you see that to be common, explain why it can't be right. For example, can and able both mean the same, which means you can't use both, in sequence in the same sentence. Whatever the website you are referring to says. Indianisms, for example, people say backside, instead of behind. So how do you want to explain that to them? The backside is definitely for an object and behind is usually for people, right? So that is something that you want to bring in innovation. What is your role as a mentor? Always ensure that you are reviewing the word of the day and the idiom of the day. Increasing vocabulary does not mean people pick flamboyant words. Increasing vocabulary means people pick words that are functional in their day-to-day grammar, in the day-to-day, speech. So review that the word is simple, usable, and nothing from the Sashi Tharoor dictionary, so to say. Idiom of the day. The same theory applies. Choose something that people would use on a day-on-day basis. For example, when the rubber hits the road, it's one of the most common idiomatic expressions you can use in a workspace, because you may have spoken or given an idea to your what do you say, to your team, but somebody could say, oh, let's test it out. We will know when the rubber hits the road. That's an idiomatic expression. Try and choose something like that. If you want innovation and you want people to remember how to speak right and not make errors, if you have a WhatsApp group, you could also send memes. There are a gazillion memes out there that are funny and yet teach a lesson. Yeah. So you could use memes to send that out. That's one innovation. And I want to leave all of you with this thought. While we've been conveniently using TAG as an acronym, calling it what it spells out to be, I'm making a huge attempt not to say the word, because I want us to undo this. I want us to undo TAG and call it either TAG or call it the GEST. Find a word that does not make it look like just a label, which is an add-on of no significance, because syntax plays a big role in how people process, right? So don't use it as the word TAG, instead call it the GEST. And remember, it's always in how you do the small things that makes the big things matter. So timer, our counter, grammarian, to all you mentors, all the best. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you so much, GTM Pratima. So throughout when the G Steam session was going on, I was cautious that how many hours you have noticed about other people's hours and grammar. And one beautiful thing which happened from this this particular part is I was always, so when I was using my vocabulary during the session and when I started hearing from people, I always used to tell myself that maybe my English or my vocabulary is little low. But then now you told me that it is only a myth. So yes, that gave me a boost up that even I can learn from others and I can also improve my vocabulary. That's a beautiful part which I learned. And from your thing, managing time, listening holistic, which describes DTM Pratima from Toastmasters, what she learned, that you should manage time and listen holistically. That is a beautiful point that we are going to take forward from your session. And yes, so one last quick before I go ahead with another next role mentor. In 10 seconds, you all have to answer one. What is the next role you're taking in the GE's team? Write it in the comment section, because we all try to ignore that, right? So I want you to write it down in the GE's team. Yes, quick. Okay, our counter, wonderful. Wordmaster Grammarian. Okay, what about timers? Yeah, no timers. Timers, GTM Pratima has explained beautifully that what can a timer actually do. Okay, so yes, we have to again motivate you all for being a timer. So yes, I see timer less. I'll take up timer the next time. I have my club members here. They'll note it down. So I'll do that. And yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the responses. And yes, we will start implementing and become a better GE's team. Great. Thank you so much. And before, let's applaud for DTM Pratima, which we forgot. So yes. Unmute yourself and do it. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. So next we are going toward Toastmaster Manasa, and who will be telling the role mentor for evaluator. Okay, and she is from Exeter's Miyapur Toastmasters Club and since 2011. And what made evaluation effect in her life is she has become more empathetic. So to learn how to become more empathetic, let's hear from Toastmaster Manasa. Toastmaster Manasa, over to you.
Thank you very much, Priya. And first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for making me part of this wonderful initiative. Evaluation. Okay. Evaluation has been part and parcel of my life, my Toastmasters life at least. And it became a part of my life outside Toastmasters also. And personally, I haven't seen every one of you evaluate. So some of it, which I'm going to tell now, you might have known already, or you might have known everything already. So if that's the case, consider this as a revision. And a small disclaimer before I begin. I don't know if whatever I'm going to tell you can help you become creative in doing your role, but it will definitely help you become a better evaluator. And whether it's creative or innovative, whether it is better, I will leave up to you. On that note, evaluation, like everything that we do in Toastmaster, has an objective. Similarly, being an evaluator also has an objective. The objective of any evaluator is to ensure that speaker remembers your evaluation. If you have any other thoughts, feel free to comment on the comment box. So remember, the objective of an evaluator is to help your speaker remember your evaluation. And the benefits of doing that will follow, which is you become a better listener, you become more empathetic, you become more motivating, and you learn how to care for the speaker. All these are just the benefits or the consequences. But remember, the objective is to help the speaker remember your evaluation. On that note, like a typical evaluation, I've also divided my evaluation session today into 4 different parts. First, I will tell you the mindset that you should have as an evaluator. And second, I will tell you how do you go about analysis, or what are the various things that you can do to become a better evaluator. And thirdly, I will tell you what are the various techniques that you can use to deliver your evaluation. And fourthly, I will conclude and summarize at the end. This is how my session for the next 8 minutes or 7 minutes will go on. First and foremost thing, become an evaluator, not a judge. I'm sure you might have heard this a lot of times, but I will tell you the difference. When you become a judge, you tend to compare the speaker to someone whom you think is the best, or you tend to compare the speaker to a standard. But if you become an evaluator, you always want to ensure that speaker becomes the best version of himself. That's the difference between being an evaluator and being a judge. So never become a judge, become an evaluator. Point number 2, no matter how bad a speech is, no matter how you felt about the speech, remember to go with an assumption that speaker has given his or her 100% to deliver that speech on that particular day. Irrespective of how much he fumbles, irrespective of whatever happens on the stage, irrespective of how you feel about the speech, have an assumption that speaker has given his 100%. I will tell you what happened. So I think in the year 2012 or 13, when I just started off my evaluation, I used to get really angry when someone gives a bad speech. Bad according to me. So I used to get angry, and then that used to reflect in the way I evaluate. When I present also, I'm a person who just talks whatever I feel. So I don't really care. So I was so angry, and then I don't know if I can take the credit for him not being a Toastmaster after that. But maybe I think there is a part of, my evaluation has played a part of him quitting Toastmasters. So that's where I've started that's how my evaluation journey has started. So I'm telling you from my personal experience, assume that the speaker has given his or her 100%, and it will change the way you think about the speaker. It will change the way you deliver your speech, deliver your evaluation. Thirdly, and most importantly, this is not about you. It's about the speaker. This is not about how we look. This is not about how we present. This is not about whether we are impressing the audience. This is about, are we providing the value to the speaker through our evaluation? As simple as it can be. This is never, never, never about you. If you ensure that you value the speaker to provide value, the listening, being a good listener, being a good evaluator, being a good presenter will only become a consequence. Never focus on the consequences. Focus on why are you there as an evaluator. So this is my first segment, which is about mindset. Now let's move on to how we actually go about becoming a good analyzer, or maybe improving your analytical skills. First and foremost, I am sure the traditional manuals has 3 or 4 pages to read through the project. Now I think Pathways has 15 to 20 pages to read through. Whatever might be the case, never stick to 3 or 4 lines that are mentioned as objectives or the key points for evaluator. Go through the entire project as if you are attempting that project. Without you knowing how the speaker has went through the process, you will not be able to do justice to your evaluation. So it's very important that you go through the entire project as if you are going to attempt the project, not as an evaluator, but as a speaker. That's an important point. That's where you will understand the objectives, you'll understand the purpose of the speech better than anybody else. Point number 2, even if you're not an evaluator in that particular meeting, even if you are not the evaluator of a speaker, or let us say if you're an evaluator of a speaker or not, ensure that you evaluate the entire meeting. This is how, as a beginner, this is what I used to do. So my mentor is Rashika. So what I used to do is, even if he is part of the meeting or not, I used to ensure that I tell him everything that happened in the meeting, and then give my evaluation also to ensure that I'm thinking it right. So this is what I used to do initially to become a better evaluator. So what I used to do is, I used to remember every speech. I used to evaluate every speech, even if I'm not an evaluator or not. And then I used to become better through the process. And then slowly, there are a lot of things that you learn when you do that. Thirdly, and most importantly, what you got to do is, it's not about when you're presenting or when you're analyzing evaluation, whether something is good or something goes into an areas of improvement. It's important that you understand what you really liked, why you really liked, and what aspects of it helped you like it. It's not about, hey, I like the way you went about telling your schooling, telling your education, telling your job or hobbies, etc. It's about what is the impact that it has made on you. It's always about the what, it's why and how. For example, if you're talking about the positives, or if you're analyzing the positives, say what you liked and also say why you liked and give some examples. And if you're talking about areas of improvement, say why do you think the speaker has to improve something, and then how he can improve that something. This is something which you got to practice every now and then, and sometimes it just becomes subconsciously, you will get used to that process. So this is how you improve your analytical skills. Now, with respect to delivery, the techniques that we actually use to deliver evaluation, which is the typical sandwich technique, where you say commendation, recommend, and commend. Now, there are 2 other approaches which I generally use, not frequently, but it really depends on the speech and the speaker. Now, the way we can present your evaluation is compartment approach, where you say, I will divide my evaluation into 4 parts: speech content, speech structure, body language, vocal variety. And you try to cluster it into one. For example, when you talk about speech structure, say what you liked about speech structure, say what you did not like about speech structure. That's one compartment. Speech content, say what you like for example, you like the supporting material and you did not like the specific purpose, or maybe just giving an example. So this is how you compartmentalize your evaluation. And thirdly, what you can probably do is acronym. So you have to pick certain words from the speaker's speech and then use acronyms. For example, talking about, so there was a speech that I have evaluated recently, how to become an effective coach. So when I've presented my evaluation, I've used the acronym coach and then presented my evaluation. Like for example, C is the conviction, or A is the anecdote. So something like that. So these are the 3 techniques you can use during delivery. So all in all, let's quickly summarize before I end the session. So firstly, it's about the mindset. Don't be an evaluator, don't be a judge, and go with an assumption that speaker has given his or her 100% for delivering the speech. And thirdly, it's not about you, it's about the speaker. And with respect to improving your analytical skills, ensure that you read the entire project to understand the project better, and also focus on why, what, and how aspects of the speech. And thirdly, ensure that you be an evaluator even if you're not an evaluator of the speaker. And to deliver, use a sandwich technique if you are comfortable with it, or if you have good scope, go with compartment approach, or you can even use a pick acronym from the speaker's speech. So this is the summary of my talk. And lastly and most importantly, I would like to conclude with this: don't please somebody with lies, and don't hurt somebody with truth. Tell the truth with love, respect, and empathy. So that's all I have to say, and happy to take any questions you may have later. So.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mansa. Let's applaud for Toastmaster Mansa. You all almost prepared us for the evaluation contest which is coming forward. So we, not to be non-judgmental, speak according, we are actually analyzing the speaker, the speech. So these are the things which I have understood. And yes, moving forward without any further ado, our next Toastmaster is Toastmaster Abhijit. And Toastmaster Abhijit, who is the first runner-up in Table Topics 2020, that is this year itself. So yes, the same thing, that being a runner-up in the Table Topics session, his learnings and a lot of other roles mentoring, he will be doing the Table Topic Master and the Table Topics. Over to you, Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you so much, Priya, and thank you so much, Cyril, for this opportunity. Uh, with the time that I have in hand, about 6 to 8 minutes, I'll try to keep it very crisp and entertaining. As we all know, the session that I'm going to take about is about talking more of the Table Topics Master and Table Topics Speaker. So we all know that what Table Topics is all about. Do we all know or not? I guess with comments on the chat box, we can say a yes or no. Because in this forum, we only have Toastmasters, isn't we? We don't have guests. We don't have people, first timers or newcomers. We all are Toastmasters. So ideally, we know the terminology called table topics as we are a Toastmaster. But can we define table topics in another way? What table topics is all about, if you have to know. Like suppose I'm giving you the context. I'm trying to ask you this question. I'm totally a new person, a guest who comes on, attends a meeting for the very first time, and I don't know what the table topics session is all about. So the table topics master comes on stage and say that, okay, this is the session I'm going to conduct. I'm the table topics master. So if I'm a guest, what do I really understand what a table topics is all about? So with that, a quick question, and I would like to have an answer on the chat box as to what do you understand by table topics. If you have to give a synonym of a table topics, what is it all about? Thinking on feet, impromptu speech, okay? Anything else? Extempore, perfect. Speak as you think. Great. I mean, impromptu speaking, right? Impromptu speaking, extempore, spontaneous, improvise, whatever you say, it's right. Now, I saw somebody mentioning thinking on the feet. And this is a very common phenomenon where the table topics master ideally comes on stage and says, this is something called as a thinking on the feet concept. Now, I'm a new member or I'm a guest. Thinking on your feet, what is that? So if you are taking the role of a table topics master, the very first thing as a best practice, I would recommend, obviously it's a very common practice and people across the Toastmasters fraternity use this concept of saying thinking on your feet. But my personal say would be try to avoid using or saying this called as a thinking on your feet. You can say impromptu speech. You can call it extempore, anything of that sort, which is common. It's a common dictionary word, a synonym to a table topics. But when the moment you say thinking on your feet, it sounds like what is that going to happen? So if you are taking the role of a table topics master, try and avoid saying thinking on your feet. Now, if you have taken up the role of a table topics master, there are few guidelines, there are few things wherein you introduce yourself of your role as the table topics master. When the point which I said, thinking on your feet, try avoiding that. You can say impromptu speaking, you can talk about extempore. Then what you can ideally do is reveal the guidelines in detail. You have a span of max to max 2 to 3 minutes, which is the typical time given for a speech evaluation. Now, if you are taking the role of a table topics master, the very important thing that you need to do is ideally reveal the detailed guidelines of the session. What is the session is going to be all about? Because the Toastmasters already know this is the only session, I would say, when I say table topics master, TTM, I consider this as the true magician. Prepared speeches are prepared speeches. Evaluations are evaluations. The table topics section is the one session which brings in a lot of magic, lot of enthusiasm between the participants. They are very excited to participate because they don't know anything. What is going to come? What is that the members or the guests are going to talk about? So considering this is the most important session in any Toastmaster meeting, you have to set guidelines in your narration of the role that you are taking. Try to reveal the detailed guidelines of your role. Most importantly is about the time. You have to be very particular saying that every table topic speech has to be for a minimum of 1 minute, as otherwise you get disqualified. Then you can go on to say that 1 minute 30 seconds and then 2 minutes and 2 minutes 30 seconds. For 1 minute, you will be shown the green card, 1 minute 30 seconds, the amber, at red, at 2 minutes, you'll be shown as the red card. You get a grace of 30 seconds for completing your table topics session. So you will have to set the parameters very clearly so that each one of the audience members understand that these are the guidelines. You will have to speak for a minimum of 60 seconds because a lot of times this gets missed out or this doesn't get highlighted well. And we have seen that a lot of guests or even members who participate don't tend to even go up and speak for 1 minute and they get disqualified. So it kind of becomes very embarrassing for people to get disqualified, or even if you can't motivate people because they get disqualified. So please reveal the detailed guidelines of the session. And then obviously you can go ahead, make the role of the table topic speaker. What you have to do, you can go ahead and narrate that. Now, if you have to conduct this session very creatively, these are the ways I would suggest you can do it. You can have picture-based table topics where you can show posters on the screen, virtual screen, and you can say what you understand by this topic. You can have theme-based. You have a theme for the particular meeting. You can correlate that. There are themes like we've seen recently, lockdown learnings or quarantine or COVID, whatever, XYZ. You can correlate the table topics entire session to that theme of the day. That also brings in a lot of innovation and creativeness. You can have quotes. You can have flip types, a topic in which you can speak either for or against and then your own views. You can have sales approach. Typically, what I'm saying right now is what we have been witnessing for the last 1 or 2 months in the form of the impromptu Premier League, a new concept which has been built, and the entire district is kind of getting, you can plugged in with this form of the table topic session. One important thing is that as a table topics master, you will have to highlight that as per the Toastmasters International, you get few seconds, which is ideally 30 seconds, that for any speaker to think on that topic and then start speaking. But that can be meant for the guest or for the new members, but for people who are already experienced, you can grant them 10 seconds to start with. That is the role of a table topics master. Now, if somebody has to explain the role of a table topic speaker as a mentor, if you have to guide somebody, you have to understand that it is a mini version of a prepared speech. What do we mean by mini version? That every table topic session should also have an opening, a body, and a conclusion. You will have to start with something with a quote or something, whatever. But ideally it should have an opening, body, or conclusion. The typical mantra to address any table topics is just few things. Number one, which I would say, don't jump into speaking right away. You have given a topic and I started speaking. Don't do that. That is the last resort that you can do. Because as we say, and when we said that thinking on the feet, you need to spend some time framing the entire topic in your mind and then revealing it. Don't beat around the bush. Be it you have just 1 or 2 minutes to influence the audience, speak on the topic. don't way away from the topic. Try and give minimum one or two examples. You can say it's maximum 1 or 2 examples with a personal touch. Don't have to start narrating a big time story. Have 1 or 2 personal touches. When you're concluding, you can conclude with a call of action or with a message. And if you want to utilize the entire time, try to start concluding the moment you see the amber card. The moment you see 1 minute, 30 seconds and you see the amber card, start framing your conclusion, because that is the only thing that you can do, because you can have a good conclusion. All in all, table topics, I would say encourage everyone to participate in table topics, because that is how I came up to hone my skills. There was a time when I was extremely scared to participate in table topics and see where I stand right now. I won't say I'm the best of the best, but yes, I can proudly say that any table topics is given to me, I can address it confidently and with a lot of compassion. I guess that's all from my side. I give back the platform back to the MOC, Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. Let's applaud for Toastmaster Abhijit. Everybody, you can unmute. You all can unmute, and yes, we can hear your sound. Okay, thank you so much. So yes, going forward, just one liner, Abhijit. So you have all taken a different perspective. We started taking the table topic master itself as a very different role together. We just thought go give quotes and done. No, I think there is more beyond that. So thank you so much for taking on that journey. So going for the last and final, we have Toastmaster Rohit, who will be helping us out in mentoring the sergeant at arms. Okay, so just telling about Toastmaster Rohit, he tells himself that when he was a boy, he never cared about responsibility in life. He started Toastmasters have helped him to motivate for his dreams and acquire the quality of being accountable. So I think sergeant at arms also have the responsibility of being accountable. So yes, over to you, Toastmaster Rohit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. Can you just confirm if I'm clearly audible and visible?
You are visible. There was a slight lag, but then if you could continue with, then we can just go ahead.
Is it fine now?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, before I begin, let me just start with an enlightenment statement. With apologies to all the science students, energy can neither be created nor destroyed doesn't apply for Toastmasters meetings, trust me. There are so many Toastmasters meetings that we all have witnessed where energy can suddenly be destroyed in between the meeting. And sometimes it might be suddenly created by one particular role. Now, coming to this energy thing, Sergeant at Arms is one such role that not only takes care of the meeting proceedings, not only gives the ground rules required to be followed during the meeting, but also to energize the audience. Now, quickly, before I tell you about the role and all the proceedings regarding that, a quick question to all the Toastmasters present in this meeting. What do you think? How many parts do you think does a Sergeant at Arms role have? And if you can be specific, you can also text what are they. Three. Okay. Start, break, end. Okay. Open meeting, collect ballots, declare results. Okay. Yes, intro. Take care of logistics. Wonderful. Okay. So let me just collaborate all of these responsibilities that you have mentioned. Mission of Toastmasters, yeah. So let me just collaborate all these roles into 3 parts of the Sergeant at Arms role as suggested by Toastmaster Pratima earlier. Before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. Exactly. Before, during, and after. Now, when you're mentoring your mentee for a sergeant at arms role, you have to make sure that you prepare him or her for all the proceedings that happen before the meeting. Sergeant at arms role, what are the duties for him or her before the meeting? So before the meeting, a sergeant at arms has some basic duties like mentioned in the text box. Taking care of logistics, getting prepared with all the meeting proceedings like the requirements, like venue, when it is the in-person meetings, taking care of logistics, getting all the ballots, papers, required stationery items and the gavel, all the other things, all the club products, getting them ready. And now since most of the meetings, since everything is online and we are going to have online meetings for a few more months coming, I guess sergeant at arms will have, people might think sergeant at arms might not have much of the work to do for online meetings. I don't think so. You have to make sure that your mentee is the one, when he or she is doing the sergeant at arms role, should be ready with the link or should follow up with the person who is getting the link ready for the meeting, and also should follow up with other role players if they are preparing for the role and are going to attend the meeting on time. And right before the meeting, also should take care that the meeting is started on time by the Zoom master, or else if your meeting doesn't have a Zoom master, sergeant at arms is responsible to play that role as a Zoom master. Now, coming to the responsibilities during the meeting, the one main thing that every mentor should take care is the script. Even the sergeant at arms has a script to perform. The script mainly involves for a sergeant at arms is the ground rules, obviously. The 3 ground rules that we all know, but since this is online meetings going on, we have online meetings going on. Few of the ground rules are of 2 kinds, online meeting and physical meeting. So for the in-person meeting, the first ground rule is kindly turn off your mobile phones or put them on silent mode, since it might cause some disturbance to the meeting or to the speaker. But for an online meeting, it is kindly put your audio on mute, since it might cause some disturbance to the speaker. And the second ground rule is, please refrain yourselves from talking about sex, religion, and politics in a derogatory manner. In a derogatory manner is a much required extension to this ground rule. Most of the sergeant at arms tend to forget it. So you have to make sure that your mentee has written that down properly, that in a derogatory manner is quite important. And to be more specific, we can express our views about sex, religion, and politics until and unless you don't support or offend any part of the 3 aspects. You should make sure that your mentee clearly knows about this and also has to deliver that to the audience clearly. And then the third ground rule, please refrain yourself from crosstalks or crosswalks while someone is speaking on the stage, because it might cause some disturbance to the speaker. And for the online meeting, it is, please refrain yourselves from crosswalks while your video is turned on, because it might cause some disturbance to the speaker. So you make sure that you tell your protege about the importance of specifying each ground rule, because people might ask you, why should I follow this ground rule? Why shouldn't I talk about sex, religion, and politics in a meeting? So you make sure that you tell your mentee that this is why you don't, and this is why you have to mention the audience not to talk about that. And also during the meeting, the sergeant at arms should take care of the minor things, like when someone suddenly unmutes themselves or someone suddenly enters the meeting and are not on mute. So the mute upon entry button should be turned on. And if the Zoom master is busy and not observing this, because he or she might be busy in spotlighting the speakers. So when suddenly someone's audio is turned on, the sergeant at arms should immediately step in and put them on mute. Because suddenly when someone enters and their dog might be barking, and all of a sudden audience might think, hey, why is the speaker barking? No. So the sergeant at arms should be attentive and quickly mute that person. In other terms, sergeant at arms should be ready to be the backup Zoom master for a meeting. Now, coming to the proceedings after a meeting. After a meeting, you make sure that you tell your mentee to be ready with the feedbacks collected from the president or from the audience. And if it is an online meeting, the feedbacks that are collected from the feedback form if you provide, or if you can just note down that and make sure that you post that in with your club members. And also the club attendance is important. Club attendance and guest attendance. When the attendance register is filled, make sure that you get that list and send a thank you mail to all the guests that have attended. Just it could work in two ways, in a way of showing your courtesy and also PR to your club. So the sergeant at arms should take care of these small things after a meeting, and also the logistics. All the logistics that belong to the club are secured once the meeting is done, like the things like the gavel and the stationery items, and other things like you might have some permanent posters made for your club. So apart from these, all the temporary things and all the things that need to be cleaned up and the venue to be vacated should be also taken care by the sergeant at arms. The sergeant at arms should be ready that everyone vacates the venue on time by the end of the meeting after networking is done. So these are the brief details about the sergeant at arms role that you have to pass on to your protege while mentoring. Let us just go briefly about things that I've mentioned from the beginning. So before the meeting, you have to take care that the link is provided on time, or if it is an in-person meeting, the venue is ready and all the logistics are ready for the meeting. During the meeting, you should take care that you clearly state these ground rules to the audience and also specify why they have to be followed, and also take care of the proceedings of the meeting, that when someone all suddenly enters the meeting room, they are on mute or not, and also take care to and also be that backup Zoom master. Once the meeting is done, you collect the feedback, you make sure that if it is an offline meeting or a physical meeting, you make sure that you vacate the venue on time. So these are the brief things about the sergeant at arms role that I could cover up in this time. So that's it. Thank you. Over to the MC Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rohit. Let's applaud for Toastmaster Rohit. Everybody. So one last time, I would want you all to applaud for each one, starting from Toastmaster Yash, Toastmaster Latya, Toastmaster Pratima, Toastmaster Mansa, Toastmaster Abhijit, and Toastmaster Rohit. Everybody. It was a great learning platform today, which we had. I think both senior and the newbies have enjoyed the session. Thank you so much for that. So going forward without any delay, I would like, I have two questions for the general evaluator. So we'll take that first, and in meanwhile, if somebody has, you can post it in the comment section. Okay. So the first question for general evaluator, so we give it to Toastmaster Latya. Toastmaster Latya, are you there? Toastmaster Latya, are you there? Okay.
She's there, but I think she's probably away.
Okay, so no worries. So I think I can give the GE team, who is a part of GE, so I can give it to you. Yeah, so Dijim Pratima, so there is a question. I find GE role at times overridden by team mode role. How can we deal with it? I repeat, I find GE role at times overridden by team mode role, that Toastmaster of the day. How can we deal with it?
One, it is not a competition. There is no role that is above the other. If that's the viewpoint we have, then I think we need to change the lens. You don't look at it like that at all. The roles are very different. It is perhaps because the club allows the Toastmaster of the day to take a long time on stage, which is a longer stage time, it appears so. But there are different genres of roles, and we should not look at it as one overpowering the other. That would be my simplest response. Change the lens. And if you are a timer and if you are the Toastmaster of the day, one of the things you must understand is that stage time is not for you to drive a theme that is close to your heart. It is a theme that threads the meeting, and keep it to the most essential points of that theme, but don't give an education session on it. That's the difference on how you can stay on course, be present, drive the meeting, and not consume too much of everybody else's time.
Thank you so much, Preeti and Pratima. So the next question, one last for the GE was, so does he give evaluation? Does he comment on the speaker too?
Some clubs have adopted this method where the GE evaluates not just the speaker, but sometimes even the evaluator who's evaluated the speaker. Personally, if you have that much time, maybe it all depends on the club culture and what the club is allowed. But it really makes the GE report very long. And I feel that if it contradicts the evaluator, it kind of confuses the speaker as well. So if there is anything that you want, you may want to take it offline to give feedback to the evaluator and the speaker. That's my take on it.
Thank you once again. And we have the last question. And yeah, so what if the timer is ignored by the speakers? So this is for you, the GE.
Yeah, this is for me, I know. And as I answer this, I have my fingers crossed that this does not happen too frequently, but it does happen. There are speakers who still not mastered the art of speaking within time, and they will just go on and on. On stage, you can do nothing about it. But once the speaker gets off the stage, it becomes the mentor's responsibility to really find out what happened and why could the speaker not put a stop where he or she was supposed to. It only gets worse if this is a pattern. Once is all right, twice we will still okay, but if it becomes a pattern, as a club, somebody has to speak to the speaker, really mentor, and maybe give multiple practice sessions to ensure that the speaker is able to put a stop to the thought process within the time frame that is allowed. Bina, I don't know if I've answered the question. If you have anything else you may want to add to the class.
No, you're more than answered the question, but I just wanted to bring it to the notice of everyone that there are many speakers who go beyond time, and then eventually the general evaluator, whoever TMOD, asks for an extension of the club, and they try to pass it by saying that, no, let's pass it, who will second it, and they just extend the meeting by 15 minutes purely because we have transgressed time, which should not be the case. That's what I thought.
Thank you, Bhuban.
One last question I have from my side. Preeti and Pratima, I wanted to understand right now during the online sessions, like few of us, I cannot generalize it to all, but few of us can feel that how do we motivate ourselves taking the GE team's role? Like for example, our counter and timer, they need detailed attention during the 2 hours of meeting. So people get tired and people feel that they get deviated. So how do we motivate ourselves to take up role or do it effectively?
If you can tell me what is the challenge, what is the reason for being demotivated, and what is your definition of tired? Just sitting and listening is
maybe sitting and listening in the like 2 hours of attention in the same meeting. In the like physical meeting, when we go and then we have a break and then we interact and then there are a lot of things. But in this thing, we have a continuous like 10 to 12:30 or 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, whatever the timing is. So paying every bit and connection and internet and all those various other background things are there. So how do we like think that we do it effectively from our side?
two things, right? One is technology. We have no control on it. So we do what it takes to stay online. Two, in the circumstances, I would say what we're all doing is we are just playing the hand we are dealt with. None of us have a choice of doing anything apart from where we are and what we are doing. So if you sit and compare that being in a live session was better and it had more energy to do the role and this does not, it's only going to cause agony and makes the role more, it weighs you down. So I would just say it's a role, you took it up. When you took it up, what did you have in mind? Let that drive you through the meeting rather than think, oh, this is boring. It's all a mindset, like Lasya mentioned earlier. Manasa mentioned earlier. It's a mindset. So to me, these roles have no difference. It's just that the timer's role, I agree, is slightly different because of the amount of technology involved. But if you look at the role of an R counter, really there isn't nothing that's different. Or for that matter, the word master and grammarian, nothing's different. To the point of listening skills, what you apply here is what you apply on your office calls. If you can listen to a 2-hour Toastmasters meeting, your 1-hour conference call at work becomes just easier. I don't know if I made that sound light, but
yes,
that is the truth of the matter.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. So yes, my role of MC is coming to an end, and I have to give back to Cyril. Sorry, I have to give back to the presiding officer, that is our area director G1, Gagan. Let's applaud for him.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Priya. We had a wonderful session and great learnings today to take away and implement in our day-to-day meeting. Hope you all enjoyed and learned lot many things about meeting rules. It's time to felicitate all our mentors who have given a wonderful session to each and every one of us. To begin with, PMBOD session by Toastmaster Yash. Thank you, Yash. And next, we have our GE Toastmaster Lasya Madhireddy. Thank you, Lasya. And next, we have our DTM Pratima Madhireddy. Thank you, Pratima. And next, we have Toastmaster Manasa. Thank you, Manasa. And moving on next, we have Abjit Roy. Thank you, Abjit. And next, we have Rohit. Thank you, Rohit. Thanks to each and everyone who has made session wonderful, gave us so much knowledge for everyone. And now it's time to get the feedback from the guest. How did you feel about the session? If you can give feedback, it will help us. Any guest who want to share their feelings? What you have felt about the session? Anyone who want to share like feedback? No one.
Toastmaster Gagan, I can just share a few of my experiences. This is Toastmaster.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'll keep it as short as a table topic session, which I the one which I conducted. I guess this is a wonderful initiative, which as an area G1 which has taken. So when you say G1, it is like G1, like life. So you have ideally brought in life to so many Toastmasters and new members who have joined in as Toastmasters to understand the different roles of of the meeting, of standard meeting, or anything from a different perspective. We brought in so many good, esteemed, experienced Toastmasters here. Toastmaster Lasya, Toastmaster Rohit, Yash, BTM, Madhireddy, Pratima. We all know what the roles is. Everybody knows about it. We are as Toastmasters. But to understand the role slightly better from different people in a different perspective, I think that is a very good initiative taken by yourself. And Cyril has done a very good, he has played a very instrumental role in reaching out to different people. I personally thank Area G1 yourself, Gagan, Cyril, and the entire Toastmaster fraternity who has been working behind the scene to make this event a grand success. Going forward also, this is something which is going to help a lot of Toastmasters, lot of people who are going to join in and understand better how this overall model operates, how it works. And I guess this is going to create a lot of change in what we have been doing so far. So thank you for bringing this up. Thank you for the opportunity, and I certainly look forward for many more from the area, from this platform.
Thank you so much, Abhijit. Without further ado, let's close our meeting and have our dinner. Let me hand over stage back to the Toastmaster Cyril.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Gagan. And I would like to quickly announce and close the meeting. We have our sixth advisor, distinguished Toastmaster Shravanti, who is also the immediate past district director of District 10, who's going to conduct a session on Walk the Talk, which is going to happen this Saturday. So I would request all the mentors and all the people in this meeting to attend this session. It's going to be a very amazing session by her. And the theme is basically to know the learnings, to get all the learnings we have got from all these sessions into reality. And with that, I would thank everyone for being a patient listener and also abiding by all the rules of the Sergeant at Arms. And with that, I would like to close this meeting. Have a great evening. Good night.
Good night. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you for a lovely session.